what we're going to see on the tour today comes from this period. Now we're in a major recession, just like the rest of the world, but a bit harder hit because we went from so high to so low so quickly. Now I really have to emphasize this last century, when we went from oppressive British rule to guerrilla warfare, to home rule, to a civil war, to republic status as a second world country, to the wealthiest country in the world, to a major recession, all in 100 years. That's a hell of a lot for any country to go through. So that's your 10,000 years in 10 minutes. Now that we're all caught up, we're going to walk around the city and look at some stuff. Now we're standing in front of the Project Art Center. This is where we saw the debut of one of Ireland's most famous bands back in 1978, Feedback. Change your name to The Hype. Nope. Change your name to U2. Okay. Oh, yeah. 1976, Larry Mullen puts up ads around his high school to start what he modestly calls the Larry Mullen Bands, until Paul Hewson walks into the room. A tiny Irish guy with an ego the size of Ireland's. He has a hearing problem and has a very visible hearing aid that he bought at a store called Bonovox. Everyone makes fun of him for this and calls him Bono. Now, in 1978, they win a talent competition in Limerick, winning £500, recording their first music, and it's that same year that they perform here at the Project Art Center. This is where Paul McGuinness sees them for the first time. If you know much about U2, Paul McGuinness has been their manager throughout their entire career, and really the man behind the magic. So, they come out of this gig feeling on top of the world. And when Bono feels on top of the world, well, you probably know a few jokes about Bono yourself. One of my favorites is, what's the difference between God and Bono? God doesn't think he's Bono. So, he comes out of here and decides to have a drink at the classiest joint around to celebrate their victory at the Clarence Hotel. So, Bono and the Edge walk up and they won't let them in. This is the 70s, it's Temple Bar, they're dressed like crap. But they're U2, so they should be let in, right? No, this happens time after time. Clarence won't let them in. They get so aggravated, they say one day they're going to buy that hotel and fire everyone inside. So they own that hotel now, and if you want to spot them, you can go inside the bar. They do often drink, although I wouldn't let the grass grow under your feet waiting for them to show up. School in the world, and obviously the #1 in Ireland. We've had various Illuminati come out of this institution, such as Jonathan Swift, Oscar Wilde, Bram Stoker, Samuel Beckett, Courtney Love, and she actually didn't graduate, she just kind of studied English, shockingly. One of the more funnier sets of stories comes from the archaic laws of Trinity. Now, it's been around for more than 400 years, so you do have a few silly things still on the books, such as the Scholar of the School exam. It's a very rigorous exam as a student that you can take, and if you pass, you get free board, a free Guinness, and a free meal every night, along with a cool medieval cloak you can wear around wherever you want. In that vein, if you have an exam to take and you arrive to campus on a white horse wearing armor and a broadsword, you can have a free Guinness and meal to have during your exam. A student did this in the 90s. Showed up on his white horse, he got his meal in Guinness, then he was invited into the dean's office, where he was congratulated on exploiting such an obscure old law, and then pointed out to a different part of the charter saying that if you do bring a horse to campus, you must take care of it. This horse was just running around shitting everywhere, eating up all the grass, so he was expelled. Now, if you happen to be around here on a Wednesday afternoon and a corner window like the ones behind us, and you don't have to look, they're just windows, but if you happen to be in one of them and have an operational crossbow on a Wednesday, must be a Wednesday, feel free to shoot all the Catholics you want. And now, Dublin City may have a problem with this, but according to Trinity Charter, that is A-okay. Now, we have the bell tower behind me. We have a couple superstitions there. The students believe if you walk underneath this before your final exam, you will fail that exam. And I think you can attest most students will not actually walk underneath there. You're not going to walk underneath there. All right, there you go. Now, it could be related to another superstition that if you're a virgin and walk underneath the bell, it will ring. Do I have any virgins that want to try that out? No, my group likes to party. Okay.
Next thing we want to do is make sure the glass is nice and cool. We want it at room temperature. Guinness is served at 7 degrees Celsius. If it's hotter or colder by about 3 degrees, you'll actually lose half the taste. When pouring, we want to keep it on a 45-degree angle with the hub facing in. Without the nozzle touching the Guinness or the glass, we want to pull down 45-degree angle, one continuous motion, so all the way down. We want to fill up, straighten the glass, and stop at mid-half.
Tired, my love. Shall we hug it